Riot Games announced a ton of games that aren't League of Legends.
Should you care?
I kind of do.
Hot take.
So this week, it was the 10th anniversary of League of Legends, a game that hundreds of millions of people play, but not us.
Yeah, so we're both not big players of the franchise or the game. It's been around for a very, very long time, but we know a lot of you out there that are watching have played it in the past. But if the stats are correct, not as many of you are playing now, or not as many of you are playing now as you were at the beginning. That's what I was trying to say.
MOBAs just, I guess, aren't as cool as they used to be.
No, I was never a big MOBA fan. I'm a huge real-time strategy fan, but when it came to MOBA games, there was just something about the tactics and the way the game worked that I kind of fell out of love with. And I know that there's people out there that definitely like this franchise and what it's all about. But it's been 10 years, they're losing numbers, so they decided to announce a brand new game. But not just one game, a crap ton of games.
All the genres.
All the genres. They basically, like, this is really weird. Typically when a company is like, okay, we need to really release something new to grab people's attention, they have one thing that they're going to announce. Maybe two, okay?
Yeah.
But they literally went to everything they could find that was seemingly popular right now and made a game around it. Like, it is insane that this has happened.
They went from 0 to 10 very quick. 10 years of here's some updates to League of Legends, here's some new characters, here's some new tweaks, patches, and out of nowhere, hey, there's a stream, check it out. By the way, we're launching like 7 or 8 games next year in 2020.
So we're not going to talk about the Netflix show that they're making, because apparently that's a thing too. There's an animated series they're making that likely people might watch.
That looks really cool.
The animation style looks really nice, but the problem is I don't know if the Netflix audience correlates with the League of Legends audience. It's a really bizarre metric there. Animated shows on Netflix are hit and miss. They're very expensive to make, but look at the visual style. The quality of it is really nice looking, and I mean, that's going to be cool. It's just, does anyone really care about the League of Legends story that much that they needed an animated show around it?
So this is where I was going to chime in and say, yes, I'm this target audience, because League of Legends has always appealed to me as a universe, not as a game. And the fact that now I can actually get into the lore without playing this game that I don't like the genre, and because the animation style, it looks just so beautiful, I could get into this. And other animes have got, or animation shows have gotten me into games. I was thinking of specifically Castlevania. Believe it or not, I had not played a Castlevania game prior to 2019, but I did watch the Netflix series, and that kind of sparked my interest in Castlevania, and now I'm playing the whole franchise.
Okay, well, I mean, like, that's a way to do it. I see this being, it could be like an entry gate to someone to, oh, this is really cool. There's games based off it. Cool, so they go to play the games. But I don't think anyone is really going to fall in love directly with a MOBA right away, playing it right away, because it is a little bit confusing, which is what keeps us away at the beginning.
Absolutely.
But there are other games that they were announcing. So let's talk a bit about these games, because this is the spicy topic for me, folks, okay? I am of the belief that if you have a company working on a game, it's really difficult to then tell that entire company, okay, guys, we're going to make a brand new game. Not just one, several, and you're all going to break up and start making individual games on genres you've never worked on before. Maybe you have. Maybe you have just a little bit here and there, but try and do something very different. So I want to keep the first-person shooter to the end, but let's first talk about, I don't know what the real name of it is, but I'm going to call it the Hearthstone clone.
I don't know what the name is. Legends of Runeterra.
Legends of Runeterra.
That's what it's called,
okay.
Yes.
So they've got a card game that looks so close to what Hearthstone is that it's mind-boggling. I don't get it. If you have the resources, the money, the team to make a new card game, why would you make one that looks so close to one that already exists?
So what we're going to see with all of these games is I feel Riot is almost positioning themselves as the Blizzard clone.
Yes.
And you're seeing it with the card game. Now, I used to be pretty big into Hearthstone. I wasn't necessarily good at it, but I did enjoy playing the game. And one of the biggest takeaways and negative points of Hearthstone is how much RNG is in that game. A lot of people say there's just too much RNG. You can't really play it competitively. And Riot Games has made a point to say our game is not going to depend on that. Our meta is going to be a lot harder to, or I'm not sure how they
Game?
described it.
It's gonna be weird, right?
Basically, they're promising everything that is wrong with all the card games. They're saying we won't have those issues.
But that's a common feature for all these games. Every time they announce a game for anything that you're about to see, there's always something that comes out and goes, we know what you don't like about those games, so now we're going to get rid of that thing, so it's not in this game anymore. Like, again, when we talk about the first person view, I'm going to freaking scream. Okay.
Please clap.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. So
Wrong company.
yeah, yeah, right. This idea that they're making something so close and going, by the way, the things you don't like, we're gonna get rid of them. I don't like that because it's like you don't know. You're going to invent new problems. And you don't know it yet.
There is, and they're not being shy about that. They are saying this is the foundation of something that's going to go on for another 10 years, just like. League of Legends had its issues at launch. This game is going to have issues as well. It does borrow a little bit of that Hearthstone art style, which honestly I'm not opposed to. No, it's charming. It's beautiful.
It's just I want it to have a unique visual style that sets the game apart from others. If I got my mom to sit here and see 2 screens of Hearthstone and that, she would not be able to tell the difference.
Call it
and
like a
that's problem.
Nintendo, probably.
She probably would. Although she can tell the difference between a Dreamcast and a PlayStation. Very happy
Your mother
about
is
that.
quite skilled.
Quite skilled.
Much
So,
better than my mother.
with that in mind, they didn't just announce a card game, they announced another game. What was that other game? Not the first-person shooter. That's for last.
So they had another one called Project F, which didn't have too much detail. They're calling it a League of Legends social game. That's about as much as we know. They showed a very brief scene where you're clicking around, so your character goes to where you clicked, and it looks like you're going to be exploring this world with your friends. So we don't know what that's about, but hey, they're working on it if that's something that you want.
Yeah.
Then they have other games like League of Legends coming to mobile and consoles. So that's a big move.
Okay.
Before you start, if I may,
Go.
This is a game that they built from the ground up.
Sure.
It's not just a port.
Fine.
Because we all know League of Legends is very heavily dependent on the mouse and the keyboard.
Yes.
Now you make it. Yeah,
Okay. You can. The idea of making a MOBA on like a console is fine if you figure out a way to do it. It's just, it has there are so few real-time strategy games or strategy games in general that have worked on a platform that are in this style. In order to make a mobile or those kind of games work for consoles, you have to kind of sometimes add a stop and wait mechanic. You know, like you see in the older Final Fantasy games where you take a turn, then the other person takes a turn. Advanced War is a good thing of that. War Groove shows that off. You rarely ever see the real-time aspect of any of these games working because you have to be doing a bunch of things really quick, and a controller just isn't good for that. Yeah. The thing is, they're promising it, they have to prove it. I have seen billions of companies promise it, and not one has really got it right. The closest, as weird as this is, are the folks that made Halo Wars. That is about the closest anyone has got to making an RTS work on a console. You know what, folks? I don't want to talk about any of the really old games like Dune 2 on the Sega Genesis or even Herzog's Way. I get it. I know. Other games have existed. I do also remember the fact that there was a StarCraft 64, but every time I saw one of those games, they never worked the same way. There was always some element to it that didn't feel right. A mouse is essential to this stuff, so they really have to prove it. That's a huge, that to me is the most shocking thing they could have announced today.
It is. This is a big move because we don't see MOBAs on consoles.
Yeah.
And they're already saying that it would be a twin stick mechanic. So I'm not quite sure what's going to be involved. Are you just... I don't know. I don't know how they're going to port this, but I'm really curious. And on phones, I don't even want to talk about phones because... I don't like playing on mobile.
You know, I may not know a lot about MOBAs in general, but I have played them, and I know that for many people, they're going to be going around the map really quick, like going back and forth, setting things up.
Yeah.
Like strategy. And that with a controller is just, okay, you got to prove it. If you can prove it, that you can do it, cool. But I don't believe they have the ability to do it, mostly because the next game we're going to talk about, which really scared me. The fighting game.
Oh, the fighting game.
Yeah.
I forget what project that one is.
Does it even matter? They're all letters.
It's Project L. I remember
Project
now.
L?
Project
Okay.
L. Very,
All right, so they showed off a fighting game that looks like Street Fighter or any generic fighter. But what was really important was pull up that image of the person with the keyboard. I have to stress this. I've never in my life seen someone talk about a fighting game and how much effort and skill they're putting into it, and see the person playing the game use a keyboard. A fighting game with a keyboard. For you out there that don't play fighting games with arcade sticks, I know you exist. I know you don't only use fight pads and all that stuff, but before I even get into why that is bizarre to see, this game is likely not made for arcades. It's likely not made for consoles. It's likely made for PCs, so that's why the keyboard would be there. Yep. But this ain't one must fall, folks. A lot of people don't use keyboards to play fighting games, so to see that shows me that they either don't understand the audience or they were testing something out and didn't think of how that was going to look the first time you shared that out with the world.
I think it might have been an oversight of marketing. They're just like, oh, we need some footage of this game. Just can you pretend like you're playing it at your computer? Just pull up the development, and this is the picture we have, and it doesn't look.
The thing is, typically when you see game development for fighting games, usually they have the controller nearby, right?
Right.
So if this game is actually being made with keyboards in mind, I don't need, like, is there an audience for that? Because I don't think there is.
This is the one I'm not that big in a fighting game, so maybe I have the same point of view as you do with the card game where, well, what's so different about this? I look at this and I'm like, who's asking for a League of Legends fighting game? What will this game offer? Maybe different controls. You get a keyboard instead of, like, bring the MOBAs into with a controller and bring your fighters onto keyboards. Maybe that's what they're doing. Just
yeah, like a running theme of this, folks, is that they're not showing a lot with these games or these projects. They're showing you very bare minimum. In fact, when you look at that picture with the guy playing with the keyboard, if you look in the background, you can see a generic gray room. That just signifies that it is the 3D empty space. Like, they haven't actually designed the worlds yet. So you're seeing something super, super, super early. Yep. But again, even if the game isn't well designed or well made, that's resources being taken away to develop that game, develop that mobile game, develop that game, develop that game. So you get a lot of stuff together. It's just weird to see stuff like that from the back end and not see more of a cohesive message of what they're trying to accomplish.
It almost feels like, and I know you really want to get to that shooting game, but it feels like they went to all their employees and they say, if you could build any game you wanted with the League of Legends IP, what would it be?
But it can't be original.
It can't be original. It can't be an original genre. And then and no battle royales. And then they just wrote checks and they went, go build it. Maybe there is a battle royale League of Legends game. I don't know. I don't want to say because
that's the eye. That's the eye.
The Project I. Yes. Then we have two more games before we get to the
Okay, let's go. Go.
All right. We got Teamfight Tactics, which is like their auto chess that's coming to mobile. Honestly, I thought it was already on mobile. This is how I'm not even following this.
Yeah, like it's they announced way too much stuff all at the same time. So they got an auto chess game coming out. If you don't know what auto chess is, you're not going to care. It's basically a variation of MOBA, or a MOBA that has been stripped down a little bit to create more of a hardline strategic element to it. It's a very cool thing. A lot of people really like different variations of this, but they are the last ones to the boat on that one for sure. So what's the other one they're doing now?
The League of Legends Esports Manager.
Okay. No one could absolutely care about this at all.
Build your own esports team, and I guess you make money in a simulator. It's taking them all from the sports world.
Why would you manage an esports team of a game that is clearly losing its viewership? I mean, like, it's a weird concept.
It's so meta. It's just weird.
I don't understand. So this almost, like, some of these things almost verge on April Fools. Like, it's like, hey, look what we're doing. And then they do it, and then it's like, why would you announce all of this at the same time? Okay, and we're here.
And what's crazy is we have, when a Nintendo Direct happens, my social circle of gaming goes crazy. Yeah. I think yours does too. When State of Play there's still noise. Something happens.
Oh, yeah.
But this is like a Riot Direct, and I wasn't seeing anybody really talking about it.
I follow hundreds of people, and there was not one person tweeting, talking, any kind of discussion in any of the forums that I'm on, of any of the Discord channels. No one was talking about this happening, which made me feel like, how bad is League of Legends doing when no one's talking about such a huge event coming out from this company?
Or has it just niched itself so much? Because it does take a lot of time to get good in League of Legends. So has this game created such a niche that any news doesn't come out of that bubble? Anyway, maybe it's in the time for that. So let's get to the shooting game, because you seem to like shooting games. Now, keep in mind, this is not with the League of Legends IP. It's a whole new IP.
Futuristic
Earth, which is basically Overwatch and
Overwatch.
CS:GO
It's Overwatch.
put together.
It's Overwatch and Counter-Strike blended together, and then out came this. It looked okay. When you're watching the gameplay of this, there are actual character animations and movesets that are from Overwatch that I've seen a billion other times. So they've got that.
Yeah.
But then there's also elements of it that look so close to Counter-Strike, but a lot of it looks bland and uninteresting and very boring. But there's also like a sequence when you're seeing on the side of this little this box, you see the Meteor logo. I guess it's
yes.
supposed to be a company, and that is actually the logo for Final Fantasy VII. So I'm like, what are you doing? Why does this exist? Why did you have to make a first-person shooter that is literally so close in visual style to existing games that I couldn't tell you if you had shown, like, okay, here was the problem. I kept seeing footage of this off of Reddit, and I was seeing like the footage on there, and I was just like, why are they playing Overwatch? This is weird, because I thought there must have been some Overwatch integration. Oh no, this is actually their game. This is their game. Their game happens to look like Overwatch with serious guns.
Yeah, but hey, they're promising all those things you don't like about all the other shooters. You hate hackers, you hate autos. We are not going to have that in our game.
This is the best part. They literally show a sequence where somebody in the office is wall hacking in the video, and then the guy goes, "Player's been banned." I'm like, that could have just been a video file, dudes. Like, I'm sorry. Did you think you figured out? Okay, here, for everyone at Riot Games that's watching, if you think you can stop hackers, you can't, okay? That's not how this works. Hackers find loopholes and things you didn't think about. That's how hacking works. The idea that they're going about this, and they're talking about how you don't like latency. Oh, we know you hate hearing about dedicated servers. Well, we got a whole new method where latency is gonna shut up.
It'll be so quick. It'll be negative latency.
It's just, it was insane. They kept talking about how we have fixes for this, fixes for that. It's like, the game's not out. You don't know what the problems are until the game is out. I'm sorry, but that's how it works. If somebody made a car and released the car and promised you that the car was going to be completely perfect and nothing would ever go wrong with it, they're lying to you, because there's no way, if they've never made a car before. They could say, and they did definitely have talented people at their studio that have worked at other studios that they've brought in to make a game. It doesn't matter. You're going to fail just a little bit. Things are going to break. And they said that they're going to commit to this first-person shooter for like a decade or something.
There's no way I can see them committing to all of these games with the same amount of resource. What I see here is they're putting their eggs in a lot of baskets. They're going to say, go to market. Okay, these two are really successful. Forget these communities. Focus on these two, and off we go.
So you're probably asking yourself, why are we talking about this? We're not League of Legends fans. No. Why are you're watching and you're thinking at this point, do I care about League of Legends? Why should you care about this? You should care about this because Riot Games, a company that isn't known for making multiple games, but primarily just one, just announced The World. They've announced more games than Valve has announced in the past decade. Like, they have just done everything all at once in one single video. They in one stream, they announced game after game after game after property after all of these things, and I'm just like, wow, do you expect all of your players to play all these things at the same time? Because let's say you're correct and it's a small, close-knit community of League of Legends players. If those people spread off and stop playing League of Legends, which is, by the way, their moneymaker, and start playing this game ripoff or that game ripoff, or stop spending time and watch the Netflix show, then they're not playing the main game. You're pulling from a small pool of players. Hopefully this attracts more people.
I think that's the hope.
Yeah, I have to assume, right?
And that's what it... I feel like I'm the target. Well, we're the target demographic. We're the ones that don't play League of Legends, and it's kind of working because I'm a little excited, specifically in the animated series and the card game. That's it. And then it's completely failing. So we're really seeing the two sides of the coin here.
It's just not working on me.
It's just like, no.
Even look, the most amount of time I can give to them is to watch a Netflix show, and the animation style looked cool, but This is how I feel about it, and I could be wrong. I don't know any of these characters. This doesn't work for me. I'm not going to want to watch the show. See, the Castlevania show introduced Castlevania as if you didn't know what Castlevania was about. And I'm hoping that's what these guys do, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's not going to be that way, that they're going... And you know, I think a problem I have too, the League of Legends story doesn't sound interesting to me, because there is one. There's a narrative, there's a world, there's that stuff. But that actual existence of it doesn't interest me. It just sounds like a bunch of stuff thrown together to get the concept of the game to be moved along. Every time I've seen Hearthstone or Dota or you know, anything that has happened in the mobile universe, those other games made a little bit more sense because all the characters seem to be from the same universe. League of Legends has machinery working alongside like fantasy things.
Yeah, it's pretty versatile. Like it's all over the place in some senses. I don't know, but that's why I'm curious about it. It's kind of as fantasy. It has. I just see this as they're really looking up to, you know, Daddy Blizzard, and they're just like, oh, Blizzard's doing that. Okay, well, we need an Overwatch, we need a card game, and then we're gonna have our own launcher with all these games, and then we're gonna create 5 to 6 different esports league that you can play on your esports manager. Now you can manage 5 different teams across 5 different esports, and then we're gonna be rich in 10 more years. I think that's their long play.
This could very well be the end of Riot Games if done improperly, folks. Seriously, if you announce that many games that quickly and they all bomb, all these properties, you can hemorrhage and lose millions of dollars, especially if you've dedicated teams to work on them for like a decade or whatever. It can cause massive rifts in their company, and it can have huge problems that can never be patched. That's why announcing this many games that quick is just insane. I've never seen anyone do that, ever. Not even Nintendo has done that.
No, it's a big gamble, and it's crazy. We're seeing these companies, you know, we saw Epic Games earlier in the week collapse their game, Fortnite, and now we're seeing Riot doing this crazy announcement of smorgasbord of anything. You know, you can have League of Legends in your anything, any genre.
It really feels like they had a big business meeting with everybody at the office. They all sat there and they went, okay, what are the most popular games? Stan, show us the games. And Stan wrote every game that was popular, and then they went, I'll take it all.
Specifically in esports.
Yeah,
because you're not
esports,
seeing
yeah,
platformers.
yeah.
Where's my platformer? I want a 2D platformer like League of Legends.
It's true. You see a lot of esports-centric games. That is the commonality here. The thing is, and Riot, you know, if I'm crazy, call me crazy. All these games already have a popular franchise in there. You have to enter at the lowest metric and try and work your way up. That is really difficult. And I don't think these audiences are going to merge together. You know, even at its lowest point, when Blizzard was struggling to make games and stuff like that really slowly, even then, the games that they were making had some kind of similarity to them. Warcraft, StarCraft, and even Diablo, those kind of games had a like a mouse and keyboard kind of inputs. But then when you got into the first-person shooters, that's when they were like, okay, we really have to change this. But even then, not a lot of people are playing Overwatch anymore. So you're seeing them try and replicate that. I think it's nuts. I think it's really crazy. I hope it works out for them. But folks, what do you think? Do you believe that Riot Games is going to have, I guess, every game ever be a success? Or do you think...
Are they going to be collapsing and stumbling over the next 2 years as they try to launch 7, 8 games at once?
It's going to be fun to watch.
Absolutely.